In this video, let us start with one of the most important topics of Java, object-oriented programming. Now, in any programming language, we have different styles of programming, also called as programming paradigms. Like procedural, functional, object-oriented, and so on. Out of this, object-oriented and functional programming are two most important paradigms. Now, there are some languages that support only a single paradigm, but languages like Java, Python, JavaScript support multi-paradigms. Now, in object-oriented programming, everything is based on the concept of objects. Now, these objects are real-world entities that contain some state, also called as the data, and the operations on data, which is called as behavior. Now, these operations are methods or functions that modify the data. Now, contrary to this, in functional programming, we assume data and behavior to be fundamentally isolated from each other, so we keep them separate. So we have data, and then we have the behavior or the methods, and these two units are independently or fundamentally isolated from each other, so we keep them separate, and this is what happens in functional paradigm. So given any real-world problem, you can solve the problem using any of these two paradigms. Your solution can make use of multiple paradigms within the same program. Not all the paradigms work best in any situation. It entirely depends on the nature and the context of problem that you are solving. So now we know about programming paradigms. Let us go over the benefits of object-oriented programming. So we know that object-oriented programming is all about objects. These objects interact with each other to perform different tasks. Let us now understand the benefits of object-oriented programming. So first is, by using object-oriented programming, you can reduce the complexity by breaking down a large complex application into small, more manageable and easier to maintain units. So we have some large complex application, and we can break out this application into smaller, more manageable units that we can later integrate to make our complete application. So this is one unit, say, this is the other one, the third one, fourth one, and so on. So with object-oriented programming, you can focus on smaller parts. You can build them first, and then you can integrate them to make your large complex application. So focusing on smaller manageable units and then integrating them to drive the business logic of the application. The second one is code reusability. First one, let me write this down. So reduces the complexity. Coming to the second point, code reusability. Once we build and tested a functionality, we can reuse it in other applications as well. The third benefit directly follows from the second one. Once you have the code that you can reuse across different applications, your development time will be less. So this was all I wanted to cover in this video, where we discussed about different programming paradigms and the benefits of object-oriented programming. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up or comment down below if you have any query. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and let's catch up in the very next one.